Here I am running UTM with Ubuntu. The virtual machine has at least 2 gigabytes of RAM and at least 20 gigabytes of space. So after installing and starting Linux virtual machine, I installed Python and some Python packages. So if we go to terminal, we can check that Python has been installed. We can also check that pip has been installed. Then we can look at what's inside. Currently there is the folder, my name and USCID. Inside the folder there's a data folder and a scripts folder. Inside scripts I have all the source code. So the first Python script is task1. So I'm using Nano to edit my Python files. So task1 is just, it's asking for the username's input, the username, and it prints out the text hello username. So if I run it here, asks me for my name and prints out hello Yuko. Then we'll look at part 2.3, Python web scraping. So here we'll be scraping the news website, but since the website that we need to scrape is dynamic, we'll need to use Selenium and WebDrivers. And on UTM, Firefox is the default browser. So for this lab, we'll be using Firefox and the Firefox WebDriver, which is called Gecko Driver. So in order to get the Firefox WebDriver Gecko Driver, I had to go to the Mozilla GitHub and had to do wget to install the appropriate WebDriver. And then I unzipped the file and moved the file to user local bin. So if we go to user local bin, we have the Gecko driver. I also tried the Chrome driver because that was what Piazza recommended, but I realized that UTM doesn't have Chrome, so for this lab we'll be using Gecko driver. And also Gecko driver comes with different versions depending on the system's architecture. So for example, I'm going to go back to desktop. We can check the system's architecture by doing uname m. So here it says AARCH64, which is an ARM. So since it's an ARM, we have to install the correct Gecko driver and Selenium for ARM. After that is done, I went to the website. And then I did the inspect for the market banner. So this green part is the market banner, and this part is the latest news. So I right click here and inspect. And we can see that this part, this entire part of the banner is under this specific element with the class called markets banner dash market data. So with that in mind, we go to the web scraper script. We first set up the web driver with the correct path to the Gecko driver using Selenium, and then we specify the website that we'll be using. We'll be waiting 5 seconds so that the market banner loads in time, because it seems like the market banner loads a few seconds after everything has been loaded. Then here it says we're finding and extracting the HTML content for the markets banner. So here we saw from inspection that it's under the class markets banner dash market data. So we'll be finding the element by the class name called markets banner market data. Then we'll be getting the HTML content using Beautiful Soap and save it as banner dash pretty, because it's been prettified using the Beautiful Soap. And we'll also be extracting latest news. So latest news, if you go here, we can right click here, inspect, uses the class called latest news dash list. So we specify that here by the class name, get the HTML content. So we got both banner and the news HTML content. And then the homework wants us to output it into an HTML file under the directory data-raw data. So this is what it's doing. So we'll first run this. Let me close Firefox first. So we'll run this with Python 3. So it first opens up Firefox and goes to the website that we want. We see that the banner has been loaded. Then it goes back to the terminal and ends the script. So to check that it's been working properly, we can go to data/raw data, and we see that webdata.html has been outputted. So we can look at the content of the web data using Nano, and we see that the markets banner market data class has been extracted. We can also see the latest news has been extracted as well. And instead of doing Nano, we can also check the first 10 rows of the file, which is just head and of 10 rows for the web data. And now that we have the webdata.html, we'll be doing the data filtering task. So go back to scripts, and I'll open the data filter. So here we'll be first reading in the web data HTML file from this directory. Then we will set it as content, and then we'll parse that using an HTML parser for Beautiful Soap, and then we'll call that soap. Then I'll first go over the market banner. So for market banner, the homework wants us to get the market card symbol, the stock position, and the changes in the percentage of the stock. And to do that, I had to figure out which class to iterate through. So I chose market card dash container. The reason why I chose that is because if we go to the website, inspect, and we see that it's under the market card container class. Each of these market cards, each of these stocks are under this market container class. So that's why we're iterating through those. And then if we open these, we see the market card symbol, stock position, and also the changes in percentage. So this is what it's doing. It's going through those classes and taking just the text value, setting it as ticker price and change, and then appending it onto the list banner. So it's iteratively adding to the banner. And same, and then we'll set the output path as process data for the market data CSV. We make sure we set up the header, and then we output it using this code. And in this process, I make sure to print out what I'm doing in each step so that it's easy for the user to understand which point of the processing is going on. So that's the market banner. And same thing for the latest news. I'm iterating through the appropriate class and appropriate text and outputting it as newsdata.csv. So if we run this, we can see that for market banner, it's finished filtering, storing, and creating a CSV, and latest news as well. So if you go back to data, we now go to pre-process data, we see that the market data and news data CSV has been outputted. We can check the contents of each of them with Nano. We see that each of the stock, the position, and the change in percent change has been saved in the CSV file. Same with the news data file. We got the timestamp, the title of the article, and the link to the article, which can be clicked on because it's a hyperlink.